Welcome to the Global Adventure Community with your hosts Jeremy Isom and Bill Becky, where we discuss issues such as leadership, education, adventure, and purpose through serving others.
Well, welcome to the Adventure Community. With me, I have Josh Anglin. We are going to talk today about what he's been up to since the Guatemala Adventure and find out kind of what's been going on in your life.
Well, a lot has changed since Guatemala. So, for those of us who were in Guatemala, I was talking about hating my job while there and kept telling everyone my plan was when I get back, fix my car because it was broken, and then immediately start applying for jobs. None of that happened, actually. Instead, I get back, and my dad decided to get my car and fix it while I was gone. So, off my plate. So that was a blessing. And I got sick immediately after Guatemala. And so that kind of derailed all of my apply for jobs planning. I missed almost another week of work because of being sick, plus the week and a half I took off of Guatemala. So I was like, dang, that sucks. But during all of that, a plumber that Jeremy told me about asked if I could help him with some stuff around his house. So I went down to his house. He lives in Shelbyville, so about 45 to 50 minutes away from me. So I drive down there on one Thursday night, and he starts telling me, I know this plumber who does his own business, and I think he's kind of looking for apprentices. Should I, talk to him about you? And at first I wasn't sure, because originally he was saying maybe work for him kind of part-time or under the table or whatever. And I'm like, I want full-time, not under the table, because under the table means I don't get any of my hours for my license. Right. I need my hours accredited for a license. Okay. I can't. I mean, extra money, cool, but I want to be a licensed plumber, so I need hours. And she's like, yeah. And then he brings it up again. So I can talk to him. Is it all right if I talk to him? So I'm like, sure. So then the next day on Friday, I also was scheduled to work with Brian, and so Brian. I show up, and he was like, hey, instead of taking a random dinner break in the middle of this workday, let's just start off and eat food. And I'm like, okay. So I get there, and they feed me, which is great because I come right after work. And so it's 5 o'clock, and I'm exhausted and hungry. Right. And so I'm like, yes, food, great. And immediately he's like, I talked to Leonard about you last night. And he was very eager. He said, well, Brian, if you're recommending him, then I'll take him. And I'm like, whoa, okay. That's...
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
So God opening a door.
And I was like, that's great and all, but I'd like to, at least talk with them. Like as great as that is, I still think it's foolish on my part to just say yes to something when I haven't met or talked with this man. So Brian's like, that makes sense. Right. Gave me his phone number. And then that Saturday, I went to visit my girlfriend in Bowling Green. So when I was in Bowling Green, I texted Leonard saying, hey, Brian mentioned you were interested in looking for an apprentice and all that. And he's like, yeah, do you got time to talk today? I'm like, yes, I do. So we scheduled a phone call for 4 o'clock. And I called him that Saturday. Okay. We talked. Cool. And it went really well. And he's like, let's schedule to meet in person. So we had that scheduled for that Tuesday. Unfortunately, he got caught up on a job going a little late on Tuesday. So we met on a Wednesday, Monday. Right. We scheduled for Monday, got caught up on a job that Monday, so we had to reschedule it for Tuesday, which I was a little bummed about because I really wanted to put my 2 weeks in for my job. I didn't want to be there much longer, and I was really... Oh, so I worked... What
was your job before?
At Promise Housing Plus. They are a nonprofit construction company out here in Portland, Louisville. So they do a lot of construction work. Mostly their main mission is fixing up Portland. So they specialized in buying houses really cheap from the city for $1 and then flipping them. But instead of selling them for profit, they sell it at cost, whatever it costs for the renovations. And then they usually work with the person they're going to sell it to get their mortgage and all that. They're primarily focused on helping, recovering addicts and stuff. They're a part of, part of cool. Church of the Promise, which Church of the Promise is also involved. I don't know how it works, but the restaurant out in Portland is also, they're all under the same, maybe not organization, but they're all connected. And so a couple of the people who work at the table own houses that Promise Housing Plus had built for them or fixed for them and stuff. And so I think, if I'm correct, it's 7 houses in 7 years is what they've done, or maybe 6 in 7 years. Yeah.
That's cool. So how many were you on?
November of last year, and I quit July 2nd was my last day. So I wasn't there for too
okay.
long.
Right.
Um,
But you kind of did an internship to figure out what you liked and
I
that
mean,
kind of stuff.
kind of, I guess. Yeah, I was there for a while, and I figured out what I liked.
Right.
And it turns out I like plumbing a lot. I really wanted to go back into that.
So how'd you end up getting in plumbing in the
That
first
was all
place?
God, honestly. So in high school, from like elementary school till my sophomore year of high school, I wanted to be a pilot in the Air Force. I thought it'd be the coolest thing ever. Flying a fighter jet,
Okay.
doing missions, pilots are cool. Top Gun, the energy,
Right.
the vibe of a pilot. It seems cool.
Yeah.
And also, I love planes. I
Mhm.
love flying. I still do. But junior year rolled around, and out of nowhere, I just lost the passion I had was just gone, and I was like, whoa. And so
Well, that and you have to be an engineer kind of to be a pilot. Don't you have to
I
be an
don't think it'd
engineer to be a pilot?
no. You mean
Or not?
you need to be smart
Okay,
and
I thought you
understand,
might have.
science pretty well, but I don't think you have to be an engineer. Yeah,
Oh,
but
okay. Okay. Guess I'm thinking Top Gun.
something. Well, Top Gun was the Navy. I wanted to be
I
in
don't
the Air
know.
Force, which
Yeah, that's
is a little different.
okay.
Especially, I
Yeah.
think if you want to be a fighter pilot, Navy is better. But I thought Air Force was
Hmm.
cooler. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. I'm not doing that anymore. And that was like 15
Right.
year old Josh. He knew nothing. Anyways, so yes,
Yes, you do learn. You do learn
Yeah.
as you grow.
So when junior year, yes, my junior year came around, I lost that passion, and I was like, oh no. I was a junior and I had no idea what I wanted to do with my future. And I grew up in the DC area, Northern Virginia, and that's a very competitive area. People who are in the military, who work at the Pentagon, high paying jobs. Education is very prized in that area. And so junior
Hmm.
year is usually when everyone has their career path mapped out and they know what they're going to do for college, this and that. And so I was like, oh no, I don't. I thought I did. Now I don't. I kind of freaked out just because that was part of the culture. Is like I realized I wasn't doing what everyone else was doing. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I freaked out for a little bit. And my older brother at the time,
Right.
he had just went to college and he's like,
I think that's kind of normal, actually.
it is
But,
kind of normal to not know what you want to do, but in that area, they really push college. It's either college or the military. That's really it. And since I
Right.
did realize I did want to do the
Mhm.
military, and I had no idea what I wanted to do with college, I was like, oh no, I am a bum. I don't know
Mhm.
what's going on. And I panicked for a bit. And my older brother was like, just
Mhm.
don't worry about it. You're what? Let me see. Junior year, I was 17. So don't worry about it. You got time. You have 2 years until you graduate,
Right.
whatever.
Mhm.
And it reminded me of Matthew, I think 6. It might not be 6. I probably have to look it up. But when Jesus talks about anxiety and tomorrow has its own worries, it's one of my favorite passages in the Bible, which I think I read in Guatemala. I love that.
Mhm.
And so I
Right.
just kind of was like, don't worry about it then. And I just focused on my school then, junior year. I just focused on what was right in front of me. What schoolwork did I have to do right in front of me?
Right.
Didn't really worry about tomorrow too much because I couldn't control it. So it's whatever.
Kind of weird. I was
Yeah.
just reading in a book about this, like right before I got on the podcast, talking about forget
Yeah.
about your failures in the past and don't worry about the future. Just
Yeah.
concentrate on
Yeah.
now. Which is
It
exactly
helps.
what
It's
you're
pretty
saying.
nice.
So,
So that means junior year, I wasn't worried about it at all. I'm a summer of my
right.
when I'm a rising senior, I was like, okay, cool. Junior year's gone. What's in front of me now is actually having to think about my future. And online, I think people were talking about the trades more. This is 2019. Yeah, 2019, summer of 2019, and 2018, 2019, people were really talking about the trades more, at least online. And so I was very much,
Right.
I never really thought about that before. I have done construction with my dad. My dad doesn't do construction, but did a lot of remodeling our house. And I was like his right-hand man. So I was like, I like working with my hands. I've done it a
Right.
bunch with my dad. Maybe I should do that. And I was thinking about sending an email to one of the people online that I saw talking about the trades a lot to see if it was a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then it dawned on me. I'm like, wait a minute. I have a pipeline directly to God. Why would I ask a human? And so I was like, Lord, what do you want me to do? I don't know. And I think it was like the first time I really asked him. Like I was kind of just doing what I thought was cool. And it really felt like he was like trades. I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting go to college because that's what everyone around me did. So I was like, okay. And I had no idea what that meant, what I'd do with that. And I kind of thought about what trades I knew of. There's HVAC, there's electrical, there's welding, there's carpentry, and there's plumbing. Those are the ones that, like, just off the top of my head, I knew of. And so, like, okay, I'll consider them. I don't want to be a carpenter. And I don't really know why. I just didn't want to. I think in my head, I saw carpenters more as doing, like, cabinets and trim, which some of them do, but
I think it's less skilled in a sense too. I think you're going down a better path because you're
kind
getting
of
plumbing skill.
I don't know, but my grandfather was a carpenter, so maybe that played a role in me not wanting to do it. I don't know.
I'm not saying it's not a good career path. I'm just saying there's some that are more technical, like electrician,
so, I don't
plumber.
know. So I was just like, carpentry. And then welding seemed cool, but in my head, welding seemed more restrictive. If I really wanted to make a lot of money, do well in life with welding, I'd be stuck to some big city or a port.
Agreed.
And I'm like, I don't want to be shackled. I want to be able to go anywhere, in not just America, but the world, to do my skill. And so then I thought about HVAC, electrical, and plumbing. I just didn't really think HVAC was that cool, I guess. I didn't want to do HVAC. I didn't have a reason. It was just like, no HVAC. And I left plumbing and electrical. Arguably, I think the two most paid out of all the ones we're talking about right now.
Yes,
and we had never had any bearing. This was just what I thought would make me happy. And so I was like, dang, plumbers deal with poop. So electrical is what I'll do. Yeah, it's a good idea. And then I thought about it. Electrical just didn't feel right. I don't know. I felt the Lord slowly calling me to plumbing. I don't know why. I don't know how. It was just very much just felt right. And all of my prayers with him and stuff, plumbing just seemed to be what he was guiding me more towards.
Well, what I think it is it's kind of like for me, right? I was sitting there in my last year of college, and I was like, I was just like you. I had no idea what I wanted to do, but I did know what I did not want to do, and that was like go be a salesman somewhere, because I wasn't very good at that. So I was like, okay, well, who's getting jobs? And what I did was I picked out a skill, because I noticed that all the people that got accounting majors in college, well, they were getting hired, and all the other ones were not. The same thing with you in the trades. You're picking out a skill that actually is very marketable, right? And so you're going to have the ability to make good money, like you said, anywhere in the world, but because you've got a skill that you're building.
So let's see. This was my senior year. I decided, like halfway through my senior year, I was like, I'll do plumbing. Right. And then I graduated high school. That was 2020. So, during COVID, everything was shut down, pretty boring.
Right.
And so I really couldn't do much. So I just was working with my dad, fixing up our house because we were getting ready to sell it. And during that time, I felt God wanted me to do a plumbing class. And so I signed up for a Plumbing 101 through Fairfax County Continual Education or something like that. It was Plumbing 101. It was an accelerated course, so I did the first year of Plumbing 101 in 6 months or whatever in a semester. So I did that. That was pretty cool. It cost me like either $1,000 or $2,000 or something. I think it was just $1,000. I don't remember. That was many years ago, so I kind of forgot. But it was, I had to pay it. I had to put my money where my mouth was. I had to actually move forward with it. Exactly.
Well, you're investing in your future.
And so I did that, and then I think I moved. Then after that, I moved to Richmond, and in Richmond, Virginia, I was looking for jobs, and it was kind of tough to find just jobs, I guess, in that area where I was in Powhatan, Virginia. So I was pretty far out from the Richmond area, like downtown area. I was like 50 minutes away. And so there weren't too many places. Right. I didn't have a car, and I kept looking for cars. And that was 2021. And oh man, cars were so expensive then. The used car market was just insane. It was insane.
Oh, it was.
And so I'm like, I need a job to get a car, but I need a car to get a job. So what to do? Eventually that sorted itself out. I just was able to use my parents' van to drive. But it took me...
Oh, okay.
I moved to Richmond, was it May of that year? May of 2022. And I got my first plumbing job in, October. So I was unemployed looking for a job for a while. At first I was like, I only want to do plumbing. Then I was like, okay, maybe HVAC or like working on septics and well. Maybe I need to get something. And yeah,
So you started knocking
nothing.
on
And I was like,
doors,
maybe
is what
I'll
you're
work at Sheets, a gas station in the area. And my sister got a job there, and I did not. And I'm so happy God did not let me get that job. It's not what.
Yes.
Thank God for God.
Thank God for God.
I would have hated it there. God was looking out for me. And so finally, I get someone to respond to me applying for a plumbing job, and I have an interview. I interviewed with the guy, and it was a very interesting interview. It was the owner of the Mr. Rooter, and he didn't really ask me much about myself. He was just talking about the job and just talking about life and stuff. And I was very confused. I'm like, he's talking as if I already have the job, and it'd just be like what it's like to work here and just things he likes. He talked about cars and other things, and it was just very interesting. And he told me he'll get back to me once my background check passes, and that should take a week. A week goes by, I hear nothing from the guy. So I text them.
Right.
I call them and ask, and they're like, oh, the background check hasn't come through. And then another week goes by, and I'm like, well, I guess I didn't get the job. Because what I've learned, if they don't respond, it means it's a no.
Right.
They don't let you know they've rejected you. So I was like, whatever.
Yeah, but the other thing is some HR departments take forever
so
to respond. They're not there for you.
So I
You're
was
there
bummed.
for them. So.
But then some friends of mine who I was staying with at the time, they went to, I think, the local, it's called the Moose Club. I guess it's some like family like bar / like game establishments. They have darts and pool and stuff. And so they went there and they ran into a friend of theirs who they kind of knew, and he did plumbing. And they were like, oh, talk to him, how's business and stuff. And they said, we know a kid who's, looking to get into plumbing. And he's oh, I'm always looking to hire new apprentices. And they started talking about me. And he stopped them and said, wait, I interviewed that kid a month ago. He's still looking for a job? I thought he wasn't interested.
Oh, wow.
And the next day he texts me like, you still want the job? And I'm like, yes, I do. And I was like,
yeah. You have to work on your interviewing skills.
He was
Or
wanting to hire me, but he thought it'd taken so long that someone else hired me. That's what he said he thought. And I'm like, that's so...
Oh, okay.
But anyways, God came in clutch
funny.
again. Some friends happened to run into him. He lived in the same county as me, and it all worked out. And I worked there for a year. And so that was cool. That's really when I started really getting into plumbing, because before it was just an idea I wanted to do, and I hadn't had too much experience with it. I had taken the class, but it was online because of COVID. There was no hands-on stuff. And honestly, I didn't learn much from the class because it was plumbing 101, and it was just, without hands-on, it was like,
Learn
exactly.
until you do.
And I think after working in plumbing, the stuff they taught in class made more sense to me. I'm like, this is what they were talking about.
Right. It's not practical until you actually have to figure it out and
that
solve
was
something.
what was, I think, the first 2 weeks, I was just in awe of God, because I was like, I knew you wanted me to do this. I knew this is what I was planning on doing. But I didn't realize the extent of how much I would enjoy it. Like the extent of my joy of doing the plumbing work, whether it would be, snaking a line, which is really gross and dirty, or just being under a crawl space and doing all the piping and gluing PVC together. Like every aspect of it, I loved.
Right.
And I was like, man, God, you knew me so well. I didn't even know I'd like it so much. I was just like,
and there's a lot of opportunities.
It really is. It's so
Everywhere,
funny.
actually.
Every time someone hears I'm going to be a plumber or am doing plumbing or whatever, they always go, oh, they make such good money or this and that. And I'm like, I honestly, when I first made the decision to go into trades, thought it meant I'd make less money than going to college. That's what I thought it would be.
No,
Well, that's just because of where I grew up. It was very education based. I had relatives tell me I'll make $1 million more if I go to college and this and that, trying to persuade me from being a plumber.
Right,
Multiple relatives sat me down one family gathering and were trying to talk.
Well, and that is true. Some in the past. I'm not so sure it is in the future. I think it all depends on which degree
really does.
you choose. Like if you were if you go get an accounting degree, like I got, well, you're always going to have a job because every business has to have a job. Well, guess what? Every business also has to have a plumber.
Every house has plumbing.
You can start your own business.
Exactly. It depends on.
Yes. Yeah. So you have so many opportunities.
It depends on what you do.
So especially in the trades. Like we had a guy when I was working in Dubai, and he had specialized in electronic components. Right. The biggest redneck I've ever met. Right. you would look at him and you'd like, oh, he's, let's see what, you'd expect him to not be on the upper
Yeah.
income level. He was making like $300,000 a year because he could go work out on the rig and he knew the electronic components. He was making more than I was, and I've got an MBA and an accounting degree, but it was because he had a specialized knowledge in certain area. So we would had to pay him more. Same thing. I think that's where the shift is going into the trades. That's why when we're talking about, Jeremy and I talk about doing this College Adventure program, we're not really focusing on, I mean, it is called the College Adventure program, but we're actually trying to get people into the right spot. Like your story is actually applicable, because I think the trades are going to be like the biggest thing over the next 10 years. So, especially for guys that don't know what they're doing and want to work with their hands.
It's fun.
And that kind of
it
stuff.
is. It is very hard work. Just this Thursday, it was like 95 or more outside, and I was digging a drainage ditch to put in some piping for a sump pump. It was so hot and humid. There was like almost no shade. I was so dehydrated. I was sweating more than I've ever sweated in my life. Like, it was, honestly, it was worse than Guatemala, being in the 110 degree heat. Yeah, like Guatemala was less grueling than what I was doing. Like, it was.
Well, you are digging.
Yeah, but it wasn't just digging. Even when I was standing still and not doing anything, it was worse feeling than in Guatemala. Just the heat and the humidity.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But that was, I worked from 8 to 5, just, with, like, I took about a little less than a 30-minute lunch break, just because I wanted to get the job done. So I didn't want to take a full break. So I'm like, I want to get home. But it was grueling.
So God's opening some doors for you career-wise. Tell us about what you're doing ministry-wise.
Ministry-wise, since I got back, nothing's really.
So what exactly do you do? Tell me your position with that church that you'd mentioned.
Now at, Crossroads Christian Church in St. Matthews. I am doing a Bible study there for the high school and / middle school, but the title's high school. So I just do the Bible study there. We're reading through John right now, and that's what we've been doing since, I think we started February. Oh, man. I think it was February 14th is when we started. And so, that was pretty cool.
Okay. So you're going in depth. So are you like a youth pastor? Or are you just a Bible study leader? What do you
Bible study leader, call it? I guess. I mean, technically, I'm like, that's like the only real youth thing they got going on for that age range. So you could kind of say maybe, but I don't know. Right now, it's just for Sunday night Bible study, Well, Sunday morning. I mean, not night. Sunday morning.
Okay. Cool.
So
how many guys
depends
you got
on the
going
day. Some people don't always show up, but I have 2 of my younger siblings go. They're in high school. That's 2 plus 3. So I think some days I have 8 or 9 people there. It's pretty fun. But that's if everyone who is interested shows up. Schedules can be. Some people are busy. Some people aren't. Some people go on vacation. It's just It's grown a lot though.
How'd you end up doing that?
So the pastor at the church reached out to Will and Jeremy, because Jeremy used to be the youth pastor there. So he wanted to do a Bible study because he realized they had nothing for the, just kids in high school and middle school. He wanted to get something going. And Will and Jeremy were like, they're always saying they're on our team and stuff. And so they thought, why do it ourselves when we know someone who's got the skills and the desire to do that? So they told Ben about me, and we met up and talked about it a little bit. And it took a little while to get the ball rolling because Ben was really busy with just all these other things he was doing at the church and changing things. But it was, I want to say November is when we first met, and we didn't start get it going until February. So it took a bit. But it was just Will and Jeremy, honestly.
So how'd you end up getting involved in the Guatemala and Ukraine and all that?
That's all
tell us that
Will and
story.
Jeremy as well. So when I moved to Louisville in 2023, I think it was October 4th is when I moved here. And so that was a Tuesday. So the next Monday, Hazel and Joe, my 2 youngest siblings, went to Monday Night Campus Life. And Will and Jeremy love meeting new people, so they started talking with Hazel and Joe. Found out that they had 3 older siblings who were adults and previously had done youth ministry. And so they were like, ooh, let's meet them. And so they put all of the kids who live in my neighborhood into one car to drop them off, drove here, and then they knocked on my door. And they wanted to talk to not mainly, but they really were excited to talk to my sister Hannah because they didn't have a female leader at the time. But they also were really excited to talk to my brother and I. Mm-hmm. And they were like, hey, guys, would you like to join us? And I had no job. I just moved. So I was like, sure, why not? And so I just started going on Monday nights, and I enjoyed it. I liked, the group, Will and Jeremy. I loved being involved with the students. And so they invited me to go to Honduras with them the next summer. But, I just moved and I was like busy with other things. So I don't really got time just yet. So I said no. But that summer, Jeremy asked me to intern with him at Leap, which really just meant I went on all their, trips. And I'm like, sure, I'll do that. And so I went to...
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. So
yes,
you were an
I
intern
was.
with Leap.
I don't know how official it is, but Jeremy said the word intern, and I said yes. So I will put it on a resume. I was a Leap intern. Why not? Exactly. Why not? Yep, for a summer.
There you go.
I don't know when I'll put it ended because we never said it start or end time. So that's what I'm saying.
Still going.
Exactly.
I think you're still going.
I've been an intern for a year. Anyway, so I went to Georgia with them.
Well, we got to take you to South Africa next summer. So
it sounds exciting. So I'm
Yes.
I'm hoping my schedule opens up for that next summer. Probably will be busy for me. I have some cool things I want to do then, but we'll see.
Maybe
Johnny probably
John
more likely
could
than me.
I
I would love to, in my head, be married by then, but
yes. Oh, okay.
We'll see.
Well, you're starting to get responsibility setting in.
Yes.
So
Anyways, I would love to go to South Africa, but went to Georgia, went to Current River in Missouri, and in between one of those trips or whatever, Jeremy was talking about how he had the opportunity to go to Ukraine. And this is where you have three different tellings of the story, but I'm going to tell my side of it. Jeremy asked Hannah and I
go for it.
if we wanted to go to Ukraine with him. Jeremy says we asked him. I don't remember that at all. Either way, somehow we got the invite and we said yes. I went. Didn't have a passport when I said yes, I'd go. So I had 4 or 3 months to get my passport or whatever. So I just immediately started working on that, expedited my passport, and I had no idea what I was getting involved with. I just heard Ukraine and youth ministry. I said, I like the sound of that. I did. I started sending out requests for family members for money.
He asked me too, but I thought my wife would think I was crazy, so I decided we would stick to Guatemala instead of Ukraine.
It worked out fine, What was it? Then, I was sending out, stuff to friends and family, and some of my family members were like, the Department of Defense says not to go to Ukraine. It's dangerous and this and that. And I'm like,
no kidding.
I'll be fine. I am 1,000 miles away from the combat zone. And I'm like, I'm glad you're like worried, but also it's fine. And so went to Ukraine. That was great. I've never left the country before. Obviously I didn't have a passport. Yeah. First time.
Oh, really? That was your
yeah.
first trip out?
So I had to get my passport. We drove my car to Chicago, because O'Hare was cheaper than flying out of Louisville. So we flew from O'Hare to Frankfurt, Germany, from Frankfurt, Germany to Krakow, Poland, and then took a bus ride from Krakow to Rivne. And that bus ride was like 15 hours because the border crossing. They just let you just sit at the border waiting. It was traveling. People who say they love traveling, I think what they mean is they love getting to their destination because they love being at their destination because the act of getting there is grueling. I mean,
well, if you go there,
it was
usually
rough.
not that.
I mean, the jet lag, the lack of sleep, to be awake for almost 50 hours because I could never get more than like a 30 minutes, maybe if I was lucky, a 30-minute nap in. I never got real sleep, but it was all worth it. I would have done it again. I plan on doing it again one day, but it was fun.
Oh.
We were working with fatherless teens of the city of Rivne who had lost their dad during the war. That was just a cool experience to be there to, they are mourning and suffering, and Yeah,
Nice.
they've lost their dads
Poor
to a
people.
war. Their city is a small city that's ignored by the federal government. Their country is ignored by the world. They're an age group that's ignored by most people. And they just felt alone. And then out of nowhere, 4 Americans showed up and said, "We see you and love you." And that meant a lot to them. It was really cool to be a part of that experience, and just being present there showed the love of Christ. And it really was powerful. I loved it.
That's the cool thing about missions, because you get to experience new things. I used to live in Russia. So I actually taught business classes at Moscow State University. I did something, I thought about when you said the passport story, I actually went across the passport of Estonia from Moscow without my passport. And I was like, somehow they talked me into getting me into Estonia. When we were coming back, I was like, you know what? I didn't have my interpreter when I was coming back. There was a girl that knew how to speak interpret. And I was like, God, I'm going to go to jail, right? Because I have no passport. And the border guy comes to it was in the middle of the night. It was like a sleeper car we're all sleeping in. And he comes to the door, and he opens the door, and this baby starts crying. And he looks at the mother and goes, "Oh, I'm sorry," and closes the door and moves on. And I'm thinking, oh, thank God. Only the baby saved me from going to a Russian jail.
Those don't sound fun. I've heard stories of Russian jails.
Yes. So anyway, I worked over in Russia for like 3 years.
That's
total.
cool.
So did business classes, and also was a part of a company that drilled for oil. Because I got an accounting degree, I got a job as their accounting manager and opened up the office for them in Siberia. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. These things, that's what you were talking about, opportunities to work anywhere. Those are the type of things that you can do. Because we actually had, we called him a camp manager, but we had a guy that was a plumber. He had kind of a jack of all trades. He had to have the same skills though that you're talking about. So
yeah, plumbing's a cool skill. What's really exciting to me is I started plumbing in Virginia, and the licensing process in Virginia is way more strenuous. It takes 4 years of work experience plus schooling just to take your journeyman exam, and then 6 years after you get your journeyman's, you're allowed to take your master. So that's 10 years to become a master plumber. But here in Kentucky, 2 years of work experience as an apprentice, and then you can take your journeyman, and then 2 years after that, you can take your master. I'm like, wow, the time it takes you to be a journeyman in Virginia, I can be a master in Kentucky. And I'm, man, God, that's really cool.
Exactly. So that's, again, God opened
Another
the
thing
door that way,
my boss,
too.
Leonard, was telling me, Kentucky is one of 4 states that has the by far hardest plumbing code in the country. And that would be Wisconsin, New York, Florida, and then Kentucky. And he's telling me because of that, if I ever want to transfer my license to another state, I'm in one of the states that makes it the easiest, because the code that I'm dealing with is way more extreme. And so it's very easy to transfer, because most states acknowledge that they just accept that license. They know that what you've learned is actually more extensive than what they require. And so if I ever want to move back to Virginia or go anywhere else in the country, I don't have to jump through too many hoops to do it. I already have, most states will probably just accept me. So that's also God looking out. Like, out of those 4 states, the only one I'd really want to live in would be Kentucky. And so I'm in the state that means I can do it anywhere in the country. And so it's just cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's really like 3 things here. You got education, which you kind of did your intro education. You got certifications or accreditations, and then you got work experience. And that's for those 3 are the 3 things, no matter what you do. Whether you go get a college degree or if you get the trades, because you're going to be faced with developing all 3 of those at the same time. It seems to me you're doing all of those correctly. And because you're knocking on doors and keeping consistent, God's opening up more doors for you.
Exactly.
So, well, cool, man. Well, yeah, you may end up working overseas using that.
Who knows?
Trade or
I
not,
mean,
man.
when I went to
Who
Ukraine,
knows
I was like,
it's
a possibility. I didn't realize I'd love overseas missions work so much.
It is, actually.
I just thought, honestly, I just heard the idea of going to Ukraine and went, yeah, I didn't think about it. I just wanted to do something cool. And turns out, I thought that using plumbing skills overseas would be a cool thing to do. But we'll see what the future holds.
It'll open doors.
Yeah, I'll just keep knocking on doors.
Cool. Yeah, that's the same thing with me. I literally, I was like, okay, I went on a missions trip and I'm like, wait a second. I like working overseas. I'd like to go overseas again. Right. So I kept doing missions trips. Then because I did the missions trip, it opened a door to get an accounting job. And at the time I was like, I don't want to do accounting. I want to go get people saved right now. Right. So I tried to actually I went and taught business English in Moscow. I wasn't teaching, like I wasn't doing accounting at the first. Then I tried to actually throw my books away for accounting. I was like, I'm just going to do it all right now. Right. And then the next thing you know, I'm like, okay, God, where are my accounting books? Right. And I had actually I had put them in a box and told my roommate to throw them away. And he was too lazy to throw them away. So he pulled the box. Yeah, this is pretty wild. So this is a God story. So he pulls the box back into our apartment. One of my friends comes over, sees the box. He's like, what are you doing with those? He goes, oh, I'm going to throw them away. The guy goes, oh, I'll take them. So he guy takes them, puts in his closet, right? He's not like, this is a totally different apartment complex. He takes it over to where he was living. And so I'm like, okay, this is God for you. I'm like, okay, God, I've got this accounting degree. Now I got to go back and relearn some of the stuff that I should have been paying attention to. But like you were saying, how you didn't really feel like it was applicable. Well, I was the same way. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Now I need them, right? My books have been in his closet for at least 9 months. Yeah. Right. So I come back. I'm like telling my friend, I go, hey. He goes, I wish I had my books. And then we go over, he goes, oh, let me run over this other guy who happened to be the guy that got my books. That guy had pulled my box out that day and was sitting in the living room. He was going to go sell them. So I'm like, I see this box that's got my name on it. I go, oh, cool. I need those. Pick up my... And so I take them back, right? And I'm like, but that was God showing me, hey, I was supposed to be doing this, right? It wasn't just a matter of, hey, this is a good idea or a good skill, but he was actually equipping me, right? And all of that journey led to me end up being a director of some companies in Europe, all kinds of stuff. Another story is when you were talking about being 15 and not knowing what you were going to do, I used to tell everybody I'm going to stay in Oklahoma, never leave. I'm just going to be like a farm and get a job.
And you travel the world.
Right. And then I've been in 60 countries since then. So it's just funny how you go from 15 not knowing anything to like God opening all these things up and and developing you and training you, and the same thing is happening to you right now, right? So, and then as you stay in ministry and start and continue working with Him. So I just thought it was a cool story that you were telling me. And I thought, well, this is something we could share with the rest of the adventure community because, like I said, it's not all about trying to find a college pathway. It's about finding a skill set that leads to a career job. So anyway, well, cool. It's been great chatting with you. And I'll post this, and hopefully it'll help some of the other people in our community as we develop it. And back to you sent out the Proverbs deal. I thought that was really cool. We got a lot of I keep doing it, man. Once a week, do something like that. I'll try. Be cool, man. But our goal is to just try to build. Me and Jeremy's just try to build a lasting community instead of just going on a trip and
tomorrow
kind of deal.
I know we're gonna have Javier over at our house to watch some movies, and maybe some other people, but I know Javier is confirmed. Cool. So that's pretty cool to hang out with more Guatemala people.
Yeah, I think he was signing up to do the next trip and do the program because I have a college program. It's a degree plan that shows how to graduate college for like 1/3 of the price of a regular college degree, or even less, like $15,000 for a total cost versus like. Yeah, it's a really good benefit for everybody in the community if they want to get involved. They can start. Marissa's already started on her plan. So, yeah, she's a go-getter. So, but anyway, cool, man. It was good chatting with you, and I will stay a little bit longer after this is because we got to let it download. But
it's great. Thanks for having me on.
Welcome to the College Adventure community, where we talk about leadership, education, adventure, and serving others with your hosts Bill Beckman and Jeremy Isom.